back a little ways. Welcome everyone to Silver Pony Survival. We are doing a quick pickup on some gear that we left. We had stashed in the field. Kind of left cached at a location. This is a good simple tactic of if you're moving through somewhere and you have to drop some non-essential gear in a place where you're going to be moving back through, just to kind of help eliminate weight or create space in your pack or amongst your unit, whoever you're with. Maybe the situation you're in is calling for you to offload some gear. So best thing to do is just find a safe place for it in the woods somewhere. Stash it in a location. Probably you're going to want to cover it up with some water repellent material of some sort, whether it be a bag, even a Walmart bag. Cover it up with some leaves. I mean, a Walmart bag is one of the most underrated pieces of waterproofing gear that you can get. So we're just going to go over a couple of things while we're out here. Just some topics of discussion. Again, right now I feel like it's an important time for it. I gotta find a place to kind of help shoot all of this. Okay. Currently, see, I'm doing this all with an iPhone, guys, so you're gonna have to bear with me. I promise you guys are getting useful information. Okay, let's see here. Maybe we can, I'd like to lean the camera somewhat forward so you can see what I'm doing here. So, we were talking earlier about med kit, basic combat casualty care for urban survival. We went through that kit a little bit, showed you guys a couple of things. Basically, now we're going to be going over some other items and just be kind of listing these out as we go. And this is going to be it's going to get more organized on this channel. It's going to get more streamlined and more, not to a point to where it's overproduced. I don't want it to be overproduced. I kind of like the raw channels. It'd be cool to be able to add some phonage on my thumbnails and maybe just a little bit more organized in the way my presentations are done, but that way it's easier for you guys to follow along. I'm definitely trying to enjoy my Pepsi while I can, because there may come a time when Pepsi's harder to get, you know what I mean? You gotta enjoy the little things. And I enjoy my caffeine and my glucose sugar and high fructose corn syrup. Hate me if you want. Tastes good going down. One thing we're going to discuss real quickly while we're on the topic, having to do with the fact that, if you can see here, this is insufficient footwear. These are the Nike Air Max, which I had picked these because I wanted a tennis shoe that was going to give me more of a heavy duty use tennis shoe. It would stand up to a little bit of outdoor use, a little bit, not too much, and it has performed well. I guarantee if I sprayed these down with some Scotch Guard, they would definitely add a little bit more protection against water, give me a little bit more water resistance. They've been a warm shoe too, but real quickly on footwear. Right now, what I would suggest as far as an everyday wear item for a footwear, unless you're in the heat of the summertime and people are walking around in flip-flops, which, you know, I think being one of the best ways to be prepared is to never get caught in a place where you're unprepared. Maybe always, if you are wearing flip-flops, maybe you know, have quick access to a pair of shoes, but laced shoes. And there was actually a CIA operative who's actually still active right now, who was talking about that, and he was saying always, that was one of their EDC items for a CIA operative abroad, was to always have laced footwear. Laced footwear was one of his EDC, one of the 5 top EDC items that he had listed was laced footwear. Never being in a position to where you're, I mean, it's hard right now. It's hard, you know, it's a hard situation, because, you know, you want to enjoy your life and everything, but at the same token, you don't want to be unprepared in the times that we're going through. So I would suggest either always having laced footwear on or having quick access to laced footwear. And what I mean by laced footwear, what I would say whenever I would be inspecting and purchasing shoes, if you're going out looking for footwear or to buy footwear, I would look into more of the hiking boots or the trail running shoes, hybrid shoes that can stand up to trail use and be used for trail use as well. Something that's going to have some things that you want to look for. You want to look for waterproofing. You want to look for Gore-Tex. You want to look for Vibram soles or some type of a good outdoor all-terrain or hiking sole that's got some aggressiveness to it, because even going through the woods, when I was doing some of my last videos, it was raining like this, and right underneath the leaves in the woods on the forest floor, you know, there was slippery water and mud, and it was real easy. It was very slippery, very easy to accidentally slip in a mud patch, and now you're on the ground. And if you're on the ground and you fall in a puddle, then half your body's wet, and it's cold and it's raining, and now you're cold, wet, miserable, and muddy, and that's not a good place to be in any kind of a deal where you're you know, you're just out in a bug out of any kind, whether it be you know, you're in a non-permissive or you're in a combat zone, you know, an urban survival situation, any kind of survival situation. So footwear is a major piece of gear that you really need to focus on, and I'm about to invest, and I'm gonna get some boots. I'm looking into some Hoka brand. Also, I was looking at some Columbia brand, but when you look at those boots, you want to be more in about the $200 range for those. You know, I wouldn't be buying any kind of boots that are underneath that price range, because you're going to want a good boot that's tough. You're going to want a good boot that's waterproof, and you guys need to be buying shoes that are going to last like a long time, that can take a beating, like years of a beating, years of utility use. We're talking water crossings. We're talking, you might go through mud. You might be rock climbing, going through gravel, moving through bombed out areas where there's rubble and glass and broken metal and shards of, you know, car accidents and wrecks. I mean, if you look over in Palestine, and if you want to know what a SHTF deal looks like, look at some of these other war-torn countries that are going on. Like, ours hasn't escalated to that level right now, but with this border crossing deal, and things they keep heating up more and more and more. And if you look at some of those other countries, you know, there's bombs going off. There's there's buildings that have been completely decimated. I mean, war-torn areas are a very hazardous environment. I mean, everywhere you're at, it has to be treated like with OSHA care, like you're on a hazardous job site. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of stuff everywhere, and you know, and you're gonna have to run through stuff like that. You know, maybe some kind of a military operation does break out, or there is some kind of a firefight, or there's artillery going off, or bombings. You don't know what's coming. You know what I mean? So you need to be prepared for those situations by the way that you dress, by the way that your footwear is adapted to that, because you know you're gonna have to be able to run through that. And the other thing too is, like, if you're not wearing the proper attire, if you're not wearing the proper footwear, you can slip, you can fall, because you gotta imagine, I don't know if any of y'all have ever run from the police before. I have. And or just ding dong ditching somebody growing up, or you know, going and egging houses. We all, you know, I'm not gonna say all, but I definitely had my part in that, because I like to have fun in my youth. But that was the time we were in, and I don't care if anybody's offended. I had fun in my youth, and that's just what it is. Snowballing, cars driving by, and I mean, we had a lot of fun times, a lot of laughs, and we were just kids, and I'm not gonna feel bad about it, because I know so many men have stories like that of their childhood where boys, that's where that saying comes from, boys will be boys. But in boys being boys, and I don't know if you all relate with this, but being in that position to where you are being pursued at a high rate of speed in a situation that's highly it's a high pressure, tense deal, to where there's really consequences on the line, whatever those might be, and you need to egress out of that situation as quickly as you possibly can, and your heart's thumping and bumping, and you're trying to book it, and as you're booking it, you're dipping through backyards, jumping fences, booking it through parking lots, trying to move through areas that are, you know, thick, heavy woodland area, you know. And as you're doing that, if you've ever done that before in attire and clothing that's not built for it, like if you're running and gunning and you try to book it over a fence, and you've got some baggy clothes with no belt, and you try to bound over a fence and it tears off your pants, you fall on the other side of the fence, get up, run another 300 paces, and have to jump over another fence and on a trash can, and bam, your shoe fell off in this person's backyard, but you can't go back and get it, and you got to just keep on running because you were wearing Vans instead of having tightly laced, well-fitting footwear and well dressed footwear. I know the style has gotten a lot back to the more baggy styles, at least in men and women. There's this new baggy 90s style thing going on, and everybody's wearing baggy. That bagginess, man, I'm telling you, it's not good. It's not good. I like streamlined clothing, streamlined denim, slim fit, because there's less for the materials to get caught on as you're bounding through areas. You know, you might have to jump over a burning car. You might have to book it through an area where there's a bunch of trash and garbage and bombed out building and rubble everywhere. And you know, if your shoe falls off, then next thing you know, your shoe comes off, and then you put your foot down, but your foot lands on a piece of sharp metal, and then you lacerate your foot, and then you fall off the side of the rubble, and now you're injured. Maybe you broke your arm in the fall, or maybe you just scuffed the crap out of your arm, and you're trying to get back up, and now you're even less mobile and less effective, and there's a situation going off over here, you know what I mean? And it could be combat, you know, there could be gunfire and a whole deal going on, smoke bombs, grenades, Molotovs. Maybe there's a riot going on and police are trying to, I saw that here in my city not too recently, in the middle of one of the highways. They were throwing rocks at a horse trailer, and you know, and in the middle of one of our main city intersections, during the premier part of town, there's a whole riot going on out there, and it's civil unrest. And and you know, the police are dealing with stuff and trying to keep, you know, trying to keep control of everything, and it's just a lot of chaos and stuff, and you know, it can be a potentially really dangerous situation, and you need to get out of that area. But if you're not even prepared in what you're wearing, then you're already way off. So when you say urban bug out or urban gray man, you need to fit in with as much of the baseline as you possibly can while still wearing utility clothing. That's my description of gray man. Fit the baseline as much as possible while also being as wearing as rugged of utility as you can, because then you're always ready. You know what I mean? And there's people who disagree, and I'm not saying don't enjoy your life, you know, but I just like to be prepared. I just like to know that whatever's coming down the pike, I can at least be in somewhat shape to be able to respond to that in some form or fashion effectively. So, saying that, that at least addresses your clothing. Also, with the way you dress, if it's wintertime, you need to be having the types of clothing you need in your bug out bags. I would, or even your EDC. I would carry an extra pair of underwear. Nobody ever talks about that in their bug out bag. Not having an extra change of underwear, that's like nasty, bro. Like, that's sanitation, and yeah, that's bacteria nasty, ooh, gross, boo-boo nastiness, man. You need to have yourself an extra pair of clean underwear, because then you can cycle them. You know, if you got to take one off, a little bit of Dawn dish detergent and a cleanish bowl of water, and just, you know, wash your underwear, and then rinse them out in a creek, or, you know, I don't know what the access to water. I'm just saying, maybe a sink or something, you know, whatever. I don't know. I'm just giving you guys some examples because I don't know how bad it's going to be, but at least you have an extra change of underwear, you know. And also socks. That's another major one listed. Socks, and then I would leave yourself some Band-Aids, some kind of something extra to treat blisters. I would keep those in your pack as well, because if you start building up a blister or something, you're going to be able to address that, just to keep your feet from getting all torn up. And that's another place where good quality utility footwear is at. Even if you're wearing tennis shoes, I would opt more for the trail running variety, unless you got your workout shoes or your gym shoes or whatever you got that's more of like a cross trainer, CrossFit, whatever. I would just give yourself an option to where, you know, I like to have the utility purpose in my shoe, just in case it's ever needed. It can withstand some use, you know, be able to take a beating, be able to take some water, be able to take some cold temperatures, be able to be breathable if it's hot, you know. So those are all things to look for in footwear. And then also your clothing. Now, to add to the clothing, I would definitely consider adding like some type of, if it's wintertime, base layering and layering your clothing is going to be a big deal, which I don't need to teach you guys how to dress, but you know, just giving yourself, you know, some clothing options. I mean, I got a couple of layers on right now. I got my t-shirt, I got my button-up that is actually an urban woodsman camo, because if you can see, just give you guys an example of this real quick. This is Oklahoma winter colors out here. See, maybe I did need to toss my pack over in a bush and cover it up, or take off my hoodie at least and change hats real quick. And I'm not going to crawl down in it. pursued, maybe you're trying to exfil out of an area, and you just got to jump in a bush real quick, or you need to get down, because I've been pursued personally, and I had to make enough headway and space in between me and that person to where I could actually do what I'm doing right now. I've literally been in this position recently. Just ran into a dangerous person in my neighborhood, but this is going to be a lot more difficult to see. That's going to be a lot more difficult to see at a distance. Obviously not up close. If they're right up on you, they're right up on you, but you know, if somebody is, you know, 50, 100, 200 yards back the other direction as you're being pursued, this might give you just a little bit of an edge at a distance to be able to kind of blend in, because it's breaking up the pattern of your silhouette, and it's giving you the colors that you need to kind of blend in with your surroundings to an extent. Because really, we got a multi-cam kit system going on here. We got, now granted, the footwear needs to change, but for the most part, I've got some greens. I've got some multi-cam that fits into a lot of, there's some greens out in here as well. You can kind of tell some of the ground colors, and then also just this shirt as well. And then my undershirt is also more of a multi-cam pattern. So that's going to fit real well into this environment that I'm in right now. And this is what it's like here in the wintertime. And in the summertime, it's the same, only everything is way more green. It's way more green, way more lush. And so, but there's also, this would also fit in with a lot of it too, because there's during the summertime, the trees are a lot more brownish in color. So, you know, you're gonna be able to fit in, this color fits in with the summertime or the springtime as well. But I think this is a great camo combination, because if you just look off in the distance there, you can see all those colors that we're looking at. I mean, see how hard it is for you to see me as I move further back. So I don't know if you can see that or not. Maybe you could see me just fine, you know, but at a distance, just these woodland colors are very effective. Very, very effective. These boonies are nice as well for breaking up outline. The design of them, the way the bill is on the design for these, they are floppy because they do want to kind of help break up the shape of the head to shoulders and break up that human outline from a distance. Because a human outline, a human silhouette is just from the head and the way the shoulders come off and the way it's a very distinctive outline. So they need to break that up the best they can. So the boonie cap incorporates that. And so that's why those hats are so, these boonie hats are so effective. Also, they keep rain off your face. They're lightweight. They have the retention strap, which honestly, I want to get something. I need to get a better cordage lock or something on there to where it'll stay tight and keep tight for when I need it. And the other good thing about these is you can just wrap them up, no particular way. What I do, I bunch mine up like that, and I take it, I wrap it around, twist, come back around in that kind of a figure 8, and then I cinch that tension buckle down on there, and then I take this and I stuff it right in the side of my pack, and I don't have to worry about bending the bill or keeping the form, shape, whatever, the same with this type of hat. And these do have their other uses, but we're not going to get into all that. So that takes care of takes care of clothing. Boy, I really like this blue, guys. This blue, it's like I'm not even going to call it a navy. It's because it's not a navy, and it's not even like a police, like law enforcement blue. It's more of a it's just kind of an urban option that looks really, really stinking good. And I think it looks amazing with any kind of an OD green, coyote tans, all your basic camos. This color fits in amazing. I mean, it is such a nice looking color, and a lot of the alpine camos that are coming out right now that I saw when I was up north in the Pacific Northwest. A lot of the hunting camos that were up there did incorporate this color blue in some of their patterns, because it does blend with evergreen very, very well. So but it also blends in with urban environments, and it can kind of be a balance between this guy is, because tactical people know what to look for, you know what I mean? And so this can kind of break up the outline between, you know, or break the balance between, you know, this guy's obviously dressing in woodsman attire or gray man attire, to more of, okay, maybe he's just a hiker, maybe he's just a normal dude that just kind of dresses, you know, it just kind of throws off. You're not as standy outy. And I'm going to say that, I'm going to address that multicam too. Multicam, man, is almost... Multicam's almost so much, it's such a popular thing right now that multicam is almost just a bad idea, unless you're absolutely in the middle of a war zone, in a combat zone. Multicam, I'm just going to go ahead and say, is a bad idea. Bad idea. You stand out. It draws so much attention because it is just such a popular pattern right now. And yes, it does look good, but and yes, it does look cool. I love multicam. I think multicam is sick, bro, but it's just not a good idea if you're trying to maintain any kind of a low profile, because as soon as you put on multicam, every pew-pew motherfucker out there is looking right at your ass. And you're looking right at their ass. And now it's just two groups of pew-pews staring at each other. So what's up? You know what I mean? And that's not a good deal. You know, I don't want anybody knowing anything about what I'm doing and who you know what I mean? I'm just trying to move around and trying to shuffle through the mix and keep it low, pro, you know what I mean? And to the best that I can, you know, I don't want to be looking super tactical all the time everywhere I go. That's not good, you know what I mean? For me, at least. Because I do like to try my best to maintain kind of a civilian, urban civilian, maybe urban civilian, outdoorsy hiker type person. Really a hiker, going for a hiker's appearance, because it's still non-threatening, it's not tactical, but it still gives you the ability to be able to use outdoor equipment and survival equipment under the guise of, I'm a hiker. But when in all reality, you're a prepared individual. And so that kind of gives you, you know, just a perspective on your attire and on your clothing, because this is absolutely a form of camouflage, 100%. Urban gray man it's camouflage. It's urban camouflage, and depending on your application, there's camos for all kinds of different things. Because really, you're trying to with camouflage, you're trying to basically disguise your appearance, or be able to hide or disrupt or to throw off your appearance, or cover your intention, or disguise your intention and what you're doing, or where you're moving, or you know what your intended purpose is for doing whatever it is you're doing. The camouflage gives you, if you're trying to keep, you know, if you're trying to accomplish a goal without disruption from an opposing force, whether or maybe you're just hunting, you know what I mean? There's all kinds of reasons for it, but it's kind of like the police, you know, they wear blue, officer blue, but they wear officer blue because it blends in the best with urban environments, and especially at night. That urban blue that they wear is absolutely a tactical color because it blends in with the night, and it makes them not stand out as much if they were found themselves in some kind of a shootout or something with a, you know, some kind of a criminal deal going on. You know, that's basically their fatigues is the blue. So you know, that's all got its purpose. So the other thing we're going to talk about while we were out here, because of what's coming over the border right now and what's going on, there's a lot of people coming here. A lot of people we don't know from down south of the border and south of that south border. So, and they're all coming this way, and there's thousands of them, and there's buses stuffed with these people, and they're sending them here, and now they're in New York City, and there's all kinds of groups of people. There's, you know, we got the Palestine deal going on right now. We got Palestinians in New York City tearing down American flags and you know, trying to pull down a menorah or whatever, and just making demonstrations on our soil. And you know, we've got random homeless populations showing up, fentanyl crisis is going on, we got, you know, all this different stuff, and it's definitely heating up as far as the level of situational awareness that you need to have. The fact that you don't want to underestimate your environment and who these people are, because let me double check on my time real quick. I gotta make sure that I got time in my, yeah, we're still on the clock. Let me get yeah, we're still on the clock. That's good. Hopefully you guys have seen me. I'm trying to do my best to film these videos. And I'm just trying to give you guys an edge. Some of you guys are civilian, and maybe you don't know maybe you don't know anything about this. Maybe you don't have any kind of a awareness about prepping, about survivalism, about urban survival, about anything that has to do with this type of stuff, any kind of tactical or anything. And so it just gives you, maybe puts a couple of tools in your kit for you to be able to pull when and if you need them. And I'm not saying that you have to be totally buttoned down like this all the time. Just get yourself, maybe even get yourself a bug out bag, have the essential items in there that your pack requires. And if you're rocking a, you know, city slicker outfit, have yourself another change of clothes that is more of your utility outdoor bug out style clothing in your bug out bag, ready to go. That way you could Superman change into something so you can bounce into the woods or bounce out, you know. And also being able to have layers. There was another guy, I'm not going to throw his name in here. There was another guy that I mentioned in a type of an egress, and we're going to get into this subject right now, because it really plays into what we were just talking about, or where we're going with this talk, because we're going to talk about egress. We're going to talk about being able to bounce out and get away from a tracking force, somebody who is actively pursuing you with malicious intent. Okay, whether it's we don't know. It can be any type of scenario that you have a tracker or a pursuer that's on your bumper trying to knock you. You know what I'm saying? Could be a gang, could be a group of marauders, could be you know, some people from south of the border, it could be, you know, some weird militia group, because there's all kinds of that stuff going on. We got too many alphabet names of different organizations, that just groups of random people that are whatever, you know, that could be armed and dangerous and be after you for any reason. Could be drug dealers, could be cartel stuff, because that stuff goes on all the time. There's been cartels, there's been gangs, there's been, you know what I mean? We've got that stuff here, they got that stuff in Mexico, that stuff in Mexico ends up here, and then we got that here too. So it's just all in there, it's all a mix, you know, it's all a slew. So, and then also, if there is some kind of a grid down environment, which I think is a very high probability, because it's really weird. When I was hearing them talking about grid down, you know, in prepper channels, I would listen to it and I'd be like, you know, man, that seems so far-fetched. It seems so far-fetched. What really got me on that is the cyber warfare that's coming online, between cyber warfare and AI. Those are the two biggest threats to the power grid out of everything, because I'm not even worried about a natural disaster at this point. We've seen 100 natural disasters. The biggest ones that we're having right now are like the volcanoes that are going off in like Iceland and Hawaii and stuff like that. And maybe we don't know. I'm just saying. But the biggest threat, I think, is the cyber war and the AI. Because what can happen is they can use viruses, and hackers can get in, and they already have had so many cases, and it's growing in frequency every day, where there are active groups, or there are hacker groups actively attacking our power grid with computer shit, trying to break in and bust down firewalls and introduce viruses and all kinds of stuff, and there was also, you know, solar flare. Now that is a natural disaster, but there was, you know, and I don't know how much of it is true or not true, because it's very hard to know what to believe coming through the media, but you know, the solar stuff going on right now, they're talking about some big deal where a solar flare could come through and knock out the, you know, communications and all this stuff, and there's about 5 or 6 good reasons why the internet could go down, and that's the big concern, because the internet goes down, you're going to lose shipping and receiving. There's going to be so much system and infrastructure crashes that happen, because the internet's not there to support it. So you know, you have those kinds of crashes. My head just kind of lost train of thought there. Yeah, I could have those infrastructure crashes, and that was tying into what I was talking about somehow, being pursued. Anyways, I don't want to pause on you guys for too long. Yeah, I was talking about being pursued. I don't know where I was going with that, guys. That sucks. I hate when that happens. But that's what's cool about this channel, is it can be just kind of real and raw and human and not artificial, and it can work, you know, it can definitely work. So what I wanted to discuss was just a basic strategy for escaping a pursuer, a tracking force. I'm sure we'll pick up where we left off as I describe this to you, but give you guys a simple strategy to be able to get out. Now, granted, what we're going to be talking about is more urban combat. This is more, this is something that should only be used in a non-permissive environment. If and when we have either foreign invaders, tyrannical government stuff going on, martial law, gang, cartel, any of that stuff. Maybe you're having to run from a certain opposing force and you're armed. The best way, what you want to do is you want to try to break contact as soon as possible. You have just come into contact with this situation, and these people have already given you malicious intentions, and they're beginning to pursue you, and they are very aggressive in their pursuit, and they are planning to cause physical harm to you, and they are posing an immediate danger to you if you are to get caught. Granted, this only works if you are, if you're an armed force. Maybe you have a pistol handy. Maybe you have some kind of another. I don't want to throw words around in here because I don't want. We'll just say you got something handy. All right, we'll just leave it at that. Now, mind you, this is absolutely for. The above listed people and people groups, but this is what we're going to call a hook and loop ambush. This has been discussed previously on another channel, but I'm just going to go ahead and echo this because it's a very simple escape and evasion tactic, and it can help eliminate if you can either break contact, which the first thing to do would be to break contact with that enemy force as soon as possible. People think they're going to sit and get into gunfights and it's just going to be like that. If you do get in some skirmish, the whole point of it, unless you have a certain objective that you need to push through that force to whether it's to eliminate them or to get a certain goal accomplished or a certain mission objective accomplished, that maybe you have to rescue somebody that's been kidnapped or whatever, there has to be some kind of an objective that's worth sitting there and actually beefing it out like that. Then you need to plan on the only reason I'm spending energy that way is to gain fire superiority and I can egress. That's the whole point of it, because I'm trying to break contact as soon as possible, and hopefully we don't even end up in a situation like that. But you don't want to stay and beef it out with somebody for no reason, and just because it's a ego versus ego deal to see who. This ain't paintball, bro. It's not paintball. So we're just trying to and handle it and move. So let's say that happens. Let's say all of a sudden that deal popped off, or maybe there wasn't even a fight like that. Maybe I've just been spotted and I'm just trying to, or maybe I'm being pursued and they know who I am and they have a visual ID on me, and I need to break contact, and I need to change my visual ID as much as possible and get to a place where I can escape and evade and get cover and concealment until the situation can blow over. That would be your first thing. So just a demonstration like how they said that. Maybe if you have a pack or a bag, that pack or that bag, you may have to drop gear. You may have to reach in your pocket and get just the essentials.